So Wisconsin week, it's senior week here at Nebraska. Hi, Sean Callahan with HuskerOnline.com. Before we get to that, this report brought to you by Game Time. There's no better place to get your tickets for this week's upcoming game or your favorite concert, whatever the event is. Game Time has you covered on the Game Time app. Download that in the App Store. Use the promo code ON3, and we're going to give you $20 off your order at Game Time. Now back to things with Wisconsin. The Badgers are going to come to town with big news. They fired their offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, on Sunday, meaning the Huskers will have to prepare for potentially some new looks from this Badger offense.
I thought last year, Phil Longo had the best game plan against our defense of anyone that we faced. So sometimes we refer to it. I'll say, like, hey, it's the Wisconsin game plan when people do elements of it, some things they did last year. And so with him being gone, you don't know exactly what you're going to see, right? I mean, obviously, Coach Fickell's a great head coach. They're going to play great defense. They want to run the football. They want to take shots down the field. We kind of have a general idea of who they are and what they do, but you have a whole other element now that you have to prepare for. So I think best thing we can do is just focus on ourselves and try to fix some of the issues we had last week that prevented us from winning.
And a year ago, it was this Wisconsin offense that gave Nebraska a lot of problems when the Huskers had a real opportunity to win in Madison.
Oh, I remember. I was trying to think of what I want to say or not say just because they're listening. They did a nice job with the quarterback draw against us last year. Like Tanner Mordecai broke out in the quarterback draw. They ran a lot of outside zone. They picked a time. They run some outside zone, kind of in some tempo, and then try to push the ball down the field. Because we don't match man, they would motion Pauling to number 3 and try to have him run option routes against our safety. They would show us one formation and motion to another because they know Tony he signals late or he has someone else signal for him late. So 4 or 5 things that really pretty creative that people hadn't done that a lot of people have copied since.
It is senior day for Nebraska. Matt Rule did share, though, that a couple guys do plan to come back. Defensive lineman Jamari Butler and defensive back Marquise Buford.
Jamari and Marquise, before I came here, Jamari Butler and Marquise Buford asked me if they could come back for another year. And the fact that they want to stay in the program to me is, that's great, but I think they see what happened to Ty. They see the acceleration of his career and want to do the same thing. So I couldn't be more grateful to those guys who did come back and what they've shown to the younger players.
However, one player that probably will not be back is defensive back Deshaun Singleton, who was not granted an additional year of eligibility.
I think Deshaun, even if he could, would probably go pro. I think he's probably going to get some invites. I think he's racing up people's boards right now. Everyone asked me about him. What happened with Deshaun is obviously he went to junior college and he came here, and then he played 4 games and he played 1 play against Michigan. And so I petitioned the NCAA because obviously everything that happened against Michigan last year seems like there's some cloak of, whatever. He got cracked on a run play. Did they know it was a run play? Is that game going to count in a couple of years? So I thought he shouldn't get penalized for 1 play in a game that's, in my mind, not even a real game, but the NCAA disagreed. So he did not get that year back. With that being said, I think Deshaun would probably have that year and say, Coach, thanks a lot. I'm going to take my talents to the next level because I think he's doing a really good job. But I wanted him to do that. Academically, he could use the year to finish his degree. So I thought he deserved that, but the NCAA disagreed.
Looking back at the game against USC for Nebraska, Matt Rule said it was the best game he had seen all season from their offensive line.
Yeah, I thought it was the offensive line's best game of the year. I thought they blocked really, really, really well. I thought we had some nice runs. I also thought we left a ton of yards out there. We had a couple times we got the ball to the safety and got tackled. A couple times we kind of missed the hole, so I thought the guys played hard. But I thought we left a lot out there, and we could have run the ball for a lot more yards than what we got. The 20-yard gain could have been 80. Just a block here. So there's definitely was some improvement, but there needs to be more.
We also saw a lot of Emmett Johnson at running back because of some injuries.
Well, Ramir was out. Ramir Johnson was out, and then Dante was hurt during the week, so he didn't practice. He got stepped on a rep on Tuesday, and so then on Wednesday he didn't play as much. And then so I don't think it was anything necessarily other than just kind of that. And then so we're kind of going back and forth between those two guys. And Gabe, I think, got a player here, and then the 2-minute, was Emmett. So It just was probably more of the depth chart than anything else. I think had Ramir been healthy, he'd have had a significant role in that game.
And for offensive coordinator Dana Holgerson, it was his first game calling the plays for Nebraska. It was obviously a work in progress. Expect to see a bigger jump, though, here in week 2.
I think, it would be like, just to put it in context what Dana did, it would be like you guys, having to write this on a deadline and having to write it in Italian with a translator next to you. It'd be hard, right? This is all new language. We're in 2 minutes, and I thought Glenn and Garrett did a great job of helping. I thought Dana prepared at a really high level. I think that will only get better and better and better. And again, that I left that game, as I said, feeling encouraged about, hey, the offense is at some point here going to really take off with kind of the direction we're headed.
One player, though, that Matt Rule did highlight who had a big game was Janiron Bonner.
I would be remiss if I didn't say I thought Janiron Bonner played one heck of a game. I thought he was really, really. When you have a wideout that you can throw the ball to on 3rd and 10 and go get a first down on a screen and then come in and crack the defensive end and run the ball. He's a special player. And, when Dana comes in with a fresh set of eyes, sometimes as a player you're like, oh, they're not giving me a chance, or they don't see what I can do. When you have a new coach come in and he recognizes what you can do, it's pretty cool. So for all the young players today, I was able to point out, Janiron Bonner never complains. He played fullback last year. He runs down on kickoff. He plays on punt. Plays on punt return, plays on kick return. So he's the type of player that we're going to continue to try to find and build around. Tough, competitive, strong, physical, can make plays. I know that's not really what you asked, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that.
And it is senior day, and this will be a little bit different of a senior day, knowing that the NCAA is going to put a cap of 105 players on rosters starting next season.
Yeah, the roster limits are a real factor. It's just I can't imagine what's going to happen in the next 6 months. And if you're like a coach who's really cares about people, you're going to have to tell guys at the end of the season, hey, there's no spot for you here next year, so the guys can go and find somewhere else to go. And you have some players probably who are like, I'm not touching the ball enough, or I'm unhappy, and they're like, I'm going to go in the portal. And you think about the effect that's about to happen. The portal's already flooded. So we have 150, and we need to go to 105. That's 45 guys. Now, I know some seniors, but we'll add some guys. Just think about 20 to 30 guys from every school having to go into the portal and the effect it's going to have on FCS and then on Division II and then on NAIA and Division III. It's going to be, so to your point, when Marquise and Jamari say, hey, we want to come back, that's 2 more people now that can't be here next year. And so it's going to be really not just unique. I sometimes say unique. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. And then, so what do? Do you not tell kids until next fall, oh, you're not a spot in the 105? The portal, I can't imagine what it's going to look like this year. It's going to be overrun, and it's going to be overrun with lots of really good kids. And so lots of really good kids we have some kids on our team that all they want to do is just go out and just be a Husker and practice and help the team. And, I've talked a lot about the guys who've, they've done all these different things here. There's a lot of guys that are going to walk on senior day that, man, some of them are going to change the world, So, is Grant Buda walking? Yes. 3.9 student. Made his way into camp because of the work he did this summer. Made the elite list every week. He's going to be a doctor. Wants to be an NFL orthopedic surgeon. In the future, that kid won't be able to be here, or I'll have to tell that kid, hey, you can't be here anymore. That's, for a guy that's wired like me, that's absolutely heartbreaking. It is what it is. We deal with it, but yeah. And it's impending. The reason why I sound like this, Mitch, is it's impending. It's not, next fall the roster limit's 105. Troy's asked all of us to be honest with everybody so that they can find a place. But you're going to have some really good kids and they're not going to have a place. And it's going to be really, really, really hard.
That's why getting this win is so important to Matt Rule.
Yeah, I think the way I've always looked at it is once you've played for me for life, right? I have guys that call and text me to this day that, I had to throw off a team, hey, you're not allowed to be here anymore. Doesn't mean I don't love you. I talked to Marcus Washington last week. I coached him for 6 months, right, a year. So it's a little different, but at the end of the day, they all made the decision to come here. They wanted to be here. I do think there's something special for the guys who were there for 4 years, for 5 years, for 6 years. There's no doubt, right? This for the last however many years, this has been a tough time for Nebraska football. And I'm here I'm going on my second year, and I certainly feel the weight of it. I certainly feel like as you're trying to break through how hard and difficult it is, right? And I'm 49 years old, and I've done this twice before, so like I'm encouraged by those things. To think of the guts and the courage of Giff, of Ty, Nash, and all those guys. Like, I don't want to forget anybody, but you get the point. You think of the courage of Javen, just when they could have just left and gone somewhere else. Hey, I want to just go experience this, or they could have left and gone to the NFL. But for them just to keep coming back, I hope that's why I want to win so badly for them. I hope history looks back on them. I mean, in the Bible they talk about those who stand in the gap, and I won't get religious on everybody, but like they've stood in the gap here, and they've taken some shots for it too. And they're still here, they're still standing, and so that's why I say what I say like this, so that our young players hear it, because we'll break through, and we'll win. And we'll win at a high level, and a lot of guys will come in here and they'll be a little bit more entitled. They'll be more concerned about what number they wear. They'll be more concerned about their NIL deal, what car they're driving. That wasn't Giff. That wasn't Nash. That wasn't Ty. Think about Nash, man. Goes out and wrestles, comes back out and plays football. He's got a bum knee right now. He's out there competing. Like I just absolutely love and respect these guys, and the success we will have will be built off their backs and the backs of the guys before and the backs of the guys before. So that's why this week's a really, really important week for me.
And finally, we did see a lot of Husker fans make the trip out to USC. It's a real advantage this program has, and for Rule, they've got to win these games, he says.
I kept telling our guys, like, hey, we're not going to need silent count. I mean, I knew our fans would travel. People that I've talked to have said they were going to be out there. It was awesome. It was just disappointed we couldn't, get the win for them, because they traveled and they supported and they made that, feel like a home game. And it was really an advantage in that atmosphere. So, as always, grateful for that support.
Huskers will get back to work for Wisconsin on Tuesday. Reporting with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.